Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Coding for Grade 8. It is the 9th of July today, and we are looking at loops with Rey and BB8. I have on the schedule here for us puzzle 12 to 14, but I'm sure we will be able to progress a little bit faster than that and just get through this entire lesson and hopefully even start the next one. So for those of you that are perhaps watching the YouTube recording after we upload this, if you would like to come and join us in our live lessons, the video description below has links that you can follow to register for these lessons. If you have access to an email, you can register as a student. If not, you can get a parent to register on your behalf. And we try to have these registrations in place so that we have some sort of control to not have the links posted publicly, but only sent to specific people that actually went through the effort of trying to get a hold of them. Okay. So if you do join us here in class, you will have access to the chat box and you can ask questions and you can receive answers and resources that we share. That being said, that is what the chat box is for. So please, from now, let's keep it clear so that we can focus and keep the chat focused at least on the content at hand. I still owe this class an explanation as to what subjects to take if you want to become a web designer. I know that is a question that's hanging and I will get back to you on that. I just had to jump into meetings last night after my lessons here, and then it was preparing for today and so on and so forth. So I do know about that and I will get back to you on that. I promise. You just need to give me a little bit of time. Okay. So I think we are good to go. Let's keep the videos off as well. So if you are new for the first time here today, welcome. But please try to keep the video cameras off just because it interferes with the content on my screen. And then it's very difficult to discuss something that I cannot see. Okay. I think that's it. So there is a quote from Bill Gates, who is the co-founder of Microsoft. And it says simply this: to learn to write programs stretches your mind and helps you think better, creates a way of thinking about things that I think is helpful in all domains. So this is obviously a person who has some programming knowledge. I mean, how much programming knowledge he has is up for debate. A lot of people have different opinions on that, but it's quite obvious that he has some, at least. I mean, that we can say with a fair amount of certainty, that he does know quite a bit about programming. And if you look at some other things about him, he has a successful business, he is a philanthropist and helping to create schools, and he has the foundation where him and his wife help countless of people. So he has been able to take most likely that same mentality and that same mindset, that same way of thinking, and apply what he knows across multiple domains. And it's worked for him. Okay. Now, a lot of people have different opinions about him, but this is not the platform for that. What it is a platform for is to not only teach how to write computer code, but to understand how do we incorporate that skill into, sorry, let me just check something here. How do we incorporate that skill into daily life? Okay. So that is basically what this is about. Okay, but for now we are writing code on code.org. There is a curriculum being developed that revolves not only around coding, but it has coding and robotics. So it will include coding, engineering, robotics, and design. Okay, that's going to be awesome and something that they are working on at the moment. Cool. So some terms that we have to know: loops, a sequence of code that repeats itself a set number of times. So we looked at loops a few days ago. I want to look at them again today because we are at this moment practicing loops. Okay. That's basically one of the main things that we are practicing. And there are a few things that I want to show you with regards to loops, right? It's not only understanding that we can take a sequence, stick it in a loop, and tell it how many times to run that sequence, or even identifying that there is a pattern that we would be able to loop. But there are some things that are important for us to note when working with loops and repeat blocks. Okay. A very important distinction for you to make is the repeat block itself is not the loop. It's the sequence inside the repeat block that is going to loop. Okay. And this will become much more apparent once you start writing code in line and text-based form, because you don't see a nice block around the code. You're going to have, it almost looks like a written command that is going to tell everything that follows in the curly bracket to repeat. Okay, but I'll show that to you in an example as well. And then another thing that you need to understand is that you can have one repeat block as a part of another repeat blocks loop that it is creating. So you can put repeat blocks inside of repeat blocks to create what is known as a nested loop. Okay, and that is quite simply put just a loop in a loop. Now the one at the bottom, and this is something that you are going to use a lot in the higher lessons. We are at lesson number 16 with the grade 7s, and I'm telling you, with the functions, it's crazy what we're doing there, and it's a lot of fun. It becomes more fun, for me at least, the more intricate it is. So for now, we just need to create a good, strong foundation, and I want to make sure that it's solid so that you can take that knowledge and apply it to different coding languages that you learn. But even just on this platform, it becomes a lot of fun in the later stages. But for that to really be fun, you want to understand what's happening in front of you. And you can only do that by understanding these basic things in the beginning. So a function is a sequence of code that performs a task or calculates a value. And what makes it different from a repeat or from a loop is there doesn't have to be a pattern. So it's not like we are taking a sequence of, let's say, we have a sequence consisting of 30 lines of code or 30 blocks of code. Now we're looking for patterns within that and seeing how we can use a repeat block to make that shorter. Okay, that isn't what a function does. What a function does is it allows you to use the same sequence of code regardless of whether there is a pattern in that sequence or not, and apply it in different areas of your program. Doesn't even have to be on that same page. So if I am, for example, creating a website, I can, and I don't use functions in my web designing work, but let's say I create a function for the entire website, I can go and apply that across multiple pages of the website. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of how that works. So this is the homework that I got handed out yesterday. I did receive some homework back. I don't think any from this grade yet. If you do send me from this grade, just put grade 8 somewhere on there so that I know what lesson it's for, because you and the grade 9s are very close to each other in where we are on the lessons and the course in code.org. So I get a bit confused when I receive these emails to know exactly who and where it's from. But let us discuss this quickly. So the goal here was to collect 5 gems. So you could either move forward and collect once each time, that would have given you 5, or you could have moved forward and taken 5 gems and you would have gotten that. So what we then decided to do was to add the additional challenge of collecting them all. We were limited to 16 blocks, and this is the way that I found is, I almost want to say the only way to do it with the blocks that we were allocated. Okay, there are some other blocks, conditional blocks, that we will be able to use, but we don't have access to them yet. So for now, that is why I say we need to study repeats, because there will be a repeat in the future that's going to say, while there is something, do this. And that we could have used, and then we could have done this entire sequence in 2 blocks repeated. Now I'm lying, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks total. Okay, if we had that conditional, but now we don't have access to that. So taking into account what we had access to, what I found to work was to move forward, collect all 5, move forward, collect all 6, move forward, collect all 7, all 8, all 9. You had to do it this way. There is no way that you can say walk, collect one each, and then go back and walk and collect one each. You can do that, but it causes a problem. And the moment these run out, because there are less here than there are in the other blocks, you need to either only walk back to here so that you can continue from there, or you can't do it. Because once you try to collect, now this is not a conditional, so it's not saying if there is a gem, collect, and only collect if there is a gem. This is saying collect. So whether there is a gem or not, the software is going to try and execute that statement, and it is going to try and force Laura, the explorer, to collect. If there is nothing for her to collect, you will receive an error. Okay, so that's why you had to do it that way. Also, you couldn't say move forward, repeat 5 times, collect, and just repeat that 5 times, because then you would only collect 5 gems on each spot. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 left on these ones. So you wouldn't have collected them all. And that is obviously not what we're looking for. You also can't set it to 9 because, again, you're going to run into trouble in the lower numbers. Once they run out, you will start receiving errors. Okay. So let's go to coding. I think that is why we are all here, not to listen to my voice over and over. Okay, so we looked at this one yesterday. I'm going to share the link and talk through this. We're not going to code this one again, but I want to talk on it while I give you guys some time to just navigate to where we are actually going to be coding, okay, on your own devices. So, right. So what we said yesterday was that this is the shortest way that we can do this. If we didn't have these objects blocking our way, it would have been fine, but we do. So this gives us a very similar situation to that one that we had for homework. Not in the sense of we are collecting that many times, but we are moving a different amount of times for each path going around. So here we said we're going to move forward twice and then turn right. So in this exercise and puzzle, we do not have to tell BB8 to collect. He just has to roll over the scrap metal and he will automatically collect it. Okay. So there we can see move forward twice, turn right. Then we have move forward and a repeat 3 times. So that's going to make BB8 move forward to there, then turn right. Then we have a move forward in a repeat 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make BB8 turn right, move forward once to collect that. And then remember, when we have 2 of the same actions that will happen, it doesn't matter whether you put it into a repeat block or whether you just put the block twice, because it is going to take the same amount of workspace. Okay. So just type a yes in the chat box if you have had the ability to open the link and you could access it, and if I can move on to the next puzzle. Okay, great. Right, so excuse me for that. Here we have it. Go BB8, go. You are doing great. Keep it up. So what we need to do is collect all of the scrap metal. And what you need to do is you need to give me the blocks that you want me to use in the chat box. So type in the chat box what blocks you would like me to use. Okay, so there we have move forward times 3. So I'm going to drop it into repeat just because we know that it's going to use less blocks. 1, 2, 3. Then we want to turn right. Do you want it after move forward or after the repeat? Yes, after the repeat. If we put it in the repeat, we're going to try and turn right 3 times, and that's not what we want. Okay, and then move forward times 3 again. And then turn right or turn left. Yes, turn left. Okay, I'm just going to run this so that we can have an idea. Oh no, my goodness. This one is wrong. That was my mistake, not yours. Sorry for that. Okay. So now we have 2 options. Let's see who can identify our 2 options there. Put everything in repeat, yes, and we call that a nested loop. So we take other loops, place it into one, and do that twice because we can see the pattern only needs to happen 2 times. Are you happy with that? Can we continue on to the next puzzle? Right, so we can do this. Okay, look closely at the code below. What will happen when we click run? BB8 will travel too far in the first loop, so we'll check that in a second. BB8 will not travel far enough in the first loop. We will check. BB8 will collect all of the scrap metal, no problems. We will check that. This one says, I don't know, so we cannot choose that because we are coders. We have to figure it out. We're programmers, right? This is our job, to figure out what the problems are and if they are there to fix it. So here we can have a look. Repeat 2, move forward, 1, 2, and there we already have our answer. And most of you said it is B. I see some saying C. So the correct answer is B. He will not travel far enough in the first loop. But what you need to pay attention to here is look at what happens. Not only does it affect the first row here, because that one is set to 2 and the others are set to 3. So if this one is set to 3, the code would have worked. But because it's set to 2, it falls short here. But because of that, it falls short here as well. So that is why I always advise you to first test your sequence, because if you make a small mistake in the beginning, it can throw everything off. And let's say that there wasn't anything to collect here, but he had to end up there in order to end up there. You would only have noticed that there's a problem up here if you just stuck everything into repeats from the word go. Okay, so are you happy with that? Can we continue on to the next puzzle? Okay, I see a few yeses. Okay, let's just trying to give myself some structure in the chat box, so I'm sharing that again. Okay, there are 2 ways to, well, 3, 4, 5 ways to collect this. You can choose whatever you want. I'm going to show you mine, and then if you'd like, you can share yours with me on an email. So we're going to go forward and turn right there. Then we'll move forward again. Ups and turn left. And I'm too lazy to count, so I'm going to test it on 5 and see where I end up. And then if I want to or need to, I can adjust that. So this is going to be 4, I can see that. And this is going to be a move forward there. What's happening? Why are you not reaching where you're supposed to be? One more move forward. Yes, there we go. Okay. So this is, in my opinion, an easy way to go because I could see the pattern quite easily. We're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. I do think that there is a shorter way though. If we move forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times there. Come on. We turn right. And we move 1, 2, 3, 4 times forward. So now we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Okay, but because this one terminates once we've reached the goal, it doesn't continue. We can actually do this. Now it's going to try and run 6 down here, but for now this doesn't matter. Later it becomes a problem, but now it doesn't matter. So we can do this in 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So there we just discussed 3 different ways to get there, and there are more. You can come down here and up if you'd like to do that. I haven't tried going down and then trying this yet, so maybe that is also an option where I just went right first or straight first. So there are different ways that you can do this. One will not be correct and the other one wrong. It's just going to be what is going to fit your situation the best. Okay, this one is a very easy bonus level, so I'm not going to bother on that. I really want to get going with the next lesson. Are you all okay with this? Can we continue with this? Lesson 7. Are you comfortable? Okay. Right, so before we get going here, I need to just quickly discuss something with you. In the meantime, I'm going to drop a link for you there. This play area is made up of 400 by 400 block. It is a block that is 400 by 400. So you'll see here we have a block that says jump 200 over and 200 down. So that means from left to right, we're going to move 200, not from where he's standing, but from the edge of this, okay, to I actually wonder, this is a ruler that I have installed. How long it is going to tell us this is in pixels. There we go. I don't know if you can see the ruler on my screen, but that is almost exactly 400 pixels. Okay. And if we measure from top to bottom, the same, 400 pixels, right? So I have a ruler installed on my Google Chrome browser because I use it when I'm designing things. But so this area is 400 by 400. So when we move or jump, we are just moving him to the center. Okay, but this is now, so this is where we need to focus a little bit. This is the center from left to right, and it's the middle from bottom to top. So here we have a block that says jump to middle center. And what that is saying is exactly what the jump 200 over 200 says. The middle is when we look from top to bottom or from bottom to top, the middle is there. And the center is when we look from left to right or from right to left, the center. So middle center is going to be the center of the block, okay? And you can toggle this down to make him end up on random places. So now he didn't even end up on the screen. You can make him end up on the top left. You can choose wherever you want him to be. Middle left. Okay, so now he's there behind that. We cannot see him, but he is there. So you can choose that. But for our example, we're going to use the 200 by 200. So this one makes it a little bit easier. If you want to make him end up on the top left, then you're going to have something like this. There he is at top left, okay? Now if you want him at bottom left, you're going to have to adjust this code or the distances here, right? And then you, I'm lying, bottom right. Bottom left will then obviously also be less here. Okay, so this is why they want us to know about this block, but this one is just so much easier to use because you don't need to figure out the distances and calculate things and whatever. You can just choose what you want to use, right? And remember, when we use a jump block versus a move block, when we use a move block, he's going to draw a line with his pencil. When we use a jump block, he's just going to jump to the next position. Okay, so now we add that, we run this, and good, we have that code written, so we're good to go. I just need to show you two more. The set color you've seen before. The width is if we are going to set a pattern to that line, we can adjust the width to be however big or thick or narrow we want it to be. Okay, so this one is obviously 50 pixels. So this is almost a square because it's 50 by 50. But it has rounded edges. You can then again set the color. What you need to understand though is, and this is going to become very important in this lesson, okay, this Loops with Artists. Certain things have to happen in sequence. So whether we put the set color before the set pattern or we put the set color after the set width, or even if we set the color after we've jumped to where we want to be, it'll still set the color because the sequence is that it has to set the color before we draw the line. But if you have the line drawn, now remember the move forward block doesn't only move him, it actually draws a line. So if we set the color after that, it will not affect the line that is being drawn because now we're trying to change the color after we have already drawn the line. Another thing is if we run this code multiple times, just do this quickly, do that, okay. So, okay, he jumps back to the center. Let's just make him jump once so that this is more clearly visible. There you can see, it's going to stay with these settings until we change it. So this set is going to stay in effect. It's not going to change. So I just want to take this a bit closer and then show you if you adjust the color, not to that, but to random, and we adjust the width. So we can't adjust the width to random, so we'll just go half the size of the first one. You'll see it's going to adjust it each time, right? So here we're jumping down and we only drawing the line in here. So we do not have a draw line for these settings here. That's why you didn't see it. So we just need to add that, move forward in here. No, after he's moved there. Okay. So now you'll see, okay, there we can see. That's what I wanted to show you. So here you can see that these colors or these settings will remain until we change it. If we do not change these settings, so if I take these two out, that setting will remain. Doesn't matter what we do after that. This will stay the same. You have to tell it to change in order for it to be different. Okay. So that is just to explain all these things to you, because what we are going to do is pasting stickers on top of each other, making patterns and things like that. And there are certain times that you have to make sure the character is in a certain position, certain things have been set before you do other things. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for you, okay? So what I want to do is just at least finish this there and there. So this is what they want. That is what they'll get. Are you good to go? Can we go to puzzle 2 for this lesson? Okay, I'm just going to quickly give you this link. Come on. Right, so what we need to do here is, this has already been done for us, right? Now put the code into a repeat block and loop it 6 times. Notice that we have added a 60-degree turn at the end of the looped code to get a full rotation, right? So we are going to loop this 6 times. And if we take 6 times 60, it gives us 360 degrees. So it stands to reason that he is going to make a full rotation, okay? Now, if we run, you can see what happens. He draws the line, he turns to face in the right direction, jumps back, and then he draws that line, okay? And then he is facing back the direction that he started in with, completing the 360-degree turn. What is important here is to take note of this sequence, right? If you swap this sequence around by any way, it doesn't really work anymore. Theoretically, if you were to turn before drawing the line after you've jumped to the center, that will also work, but there you can see it goes, right? So he's turning after he goes back to the center. I just want to check whether this is actually going to draw that line. Yes, it does. Okay. So there you can see that also doesn't really matter. You can change these two around for this exercise, but it won't always work in the others. And the way that we prefer to do it is to make the artist turn before we take them back to start the next line that they are going to draw. Are you happy with that? Can we continue? So here we are with the exact same code that we had, but we want to set this to something else, not that, the pattern. So that is the example they gave us. But there's something that I need you to pay attention to here. I want to quickly show you this. I'm going to do this as well. Do that. I'm going to find the repeat somewhere here. And I'm going to jump to that. And I'm going to do that. And then we'll do this. Okay, so what I want you to just take note of is the following. As we have a sequence in the way that the code runs and in the way that we build the code, if we are ever working on a, how can I say, a canvas where we are going to be creating something that is visual, you need to remember that there are layers within that as well. So what I mean by that is if we run this code now, I have it nice and slow so that we can see. You can even start to see it when the little artist goes back to the center. The points of those lines is one on top of the next. So the first line is actually creating the first layer. Everything after that is a layer on top of that. So now you can see what happens with the bricks. The brick lines cover those other colored lines because it is being drawn on top of it. So the colored lines, the rainbow lines are still there. They're just hidden by this brick line that we have here, or the lines that looks like a brick wall. Okay, so I know on this it seems very basic and easy to understand. Yes, there are layers. If you draw one over the other, you won't see the one. But once we start advancing in this puzzle, or this lesson at least, sorry, I have a bit of a connection thing here. So once we start advancing with this, you will see that that layer concept becomes really important. Okay, you need to understand that what you put or place first on the canvas or the play area is going to be below whatever you place last if you position them to be overlapping. Okay, right. So are you good to go? Can we continue? Many yeses coming through. Okay, so before we continue now, I have to just show you here. This icon means that this level is part of a larger project. Changes will be saved across these levels. Okay, so what you need to just understand is that when we create code here, they might keep the code that we have created and draw that over to a next puzzle. If not the next puzzle, then possibly one in the future, maybe even in another lesson, so that our code is there and we can just add on to it or make adjustments. We don't have to recode the entire thing each time. Okay, this especially draws true or remains true when we are working with these stickers. Okay, so what they want us to do here is to just jump to the middle center and draw a sticker. You can draw anyone you want. They've given us a grayed out cat, so I'm going to stick to that if I can find it up there. But all these stickers are available for you to use and you can run the code. Now what I want you to pay attention to is he's drawing the sticker according to the way that he's facing. If we make him turn left by 90 before he draws the sticker, you'll see that he's going to draw the sticker to the top. If we make him turn by 180, that's going to make him face to the opposite side that he's facing, and that is what it will look like. To get him to turn to the bottom, we can't go to 360. We do not have a 360. So just set this back to 90 and make him turn right. Oh, please run. And then you can see he turns to the bottom and he makes the cat paste sit upside down. Okay, so this isn't that important now, but it does become important in a bit. You really want to take note of the way that is facing and how the sticker will be placed according to that. Okay, I think we can fit in one more. So with these, you'll see they give you this option. If you click on print, you don't have to print that to a paper or page. You can say choose print to PDF, and then you can send it to me via email if you'd like to share your artistic creations with me. Okay, so now you can see the code that I've created still here. Okay, that's because of this symbol. It gets carried over from one puzzle to the next. So what they want us to do here is to repeat it. But if we just repeat it 4 times, we're drawing 4 stickers on top of each other. Slow this down and then you'll see. There we can see. You can see here the code is running. It's drawing the stickers. Visually, it doesn't make a change because we cannot see it. So what we can do, sorry about that, is we can just add a turn in here. That will make him turn by 90 over 4. That's going to give us that. Okay. What you can also do is change this. Now, whenever you go smaller with the degrees, you need to go higher with the amount of times that you repeat. The degrees that you repeat with times how many times you repeat it, if that equals 360 or more, it'll give you a full circle rotation like you see there now. Okay. And again, if you would like, you can change to any other character that you'd like to use. And then the sticker will look a little bit different, or the final product, but it's still going to be the same idea that counts, right? Again, this can be shared with me if you'd like to. I'm going to leave you with this next one. And with this one, they want you to add a second sticker. So add the second sticker into the loop and play with this. You have unlimited block space. So see what you can create, and you can share it to me if you'd like to. Tomorrow we were going to do what we did today, so we'll just continue where we left off. The sticker stuff is really easy, but it can be a lot of fun. And there we have it. My email address, if you'd like to share anything with me, our social media platforms that we are on, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on all 3 of those, and just search for Africa Teen Geeks. You can follow us from there, where you will not only learn more about us, but you may also receive some updates about how things are happening and what is going on with regards to the lessons and so on and so forth, right? Have a very good day. Thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.